Okay, so I said I was going to post more on this channel, so I'm going to try posting more on this channel. So today I'm going to talk to you about my transgender timeline, so to speak. So, growing up, I always knew that something was just, not, you know, a-okay, like 100. Like, I didn't, obviously, when you're younger, I grew up in an Orthodox Jewish household, so I didn't even know what anything LGBT was. So, obviously, I had no idea if I even thought that something was different. I didn't know what to place with, like, what to name it or anything like that. So, basically, from a young age, I always knew that I had a feeling I wasn't female, but I didn't know what that meant. So I would just kind of, I just kind of put it off, like, everyone would be like, oh, like, he's a tomboy, he just, likes playing sports, stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, yeah, I'm the tomboy. Again, like I said, I was raised in an Orthodox Jewish community. I went to a very Jewish elementary school growing up where I had to wear a uniform and I always had to wear a skirt. I would always try to wear like pants under the skirt and they would make me take it off. Even in the middle of the winter, I'd have to just wear a plain skirt. It sucked. And I was always so uncomfortable. And I know, like, I'm not trying to like say that gender clothing, like dresses or anything, are either male or female specifically related, because absolutely not. But I always, like, when I was growing up, everything, I was raised to believe that femininity was dressy, skirts, makeup, all that shit. So that was, when I was younger, that was my perception of what femininity was, the societal standard, so to speak. So I was so uncomfortable in, like, makeup. I was so uncomfortable in dresses. I was so uncomfortable with absolutely everything like that. So I would just, I adopted, like, oh, I'm the tomboy, whatever. So as I get a bit older, I start, like, on, like, around, I'd say 8 or 9, I start to figure out that I like women. So it's like, and what's different with gender with me is that it took me a really long time to, like, figure it out, know what I am, understand what's going on. With sexuality, I just, like, oh, I like women. Didn't know what it meant. I'm like, oh, I like women. Okay, okay, moving on. Wasn't a big deal for me, so I always knew I loved women. Um, but sexuality video is a video for a different day. So growing up, I would, like, going into, like, elementary school, middle school, I would always wear my hair up. I would always only ever wear pants. I would only ever, I would never wear makeup. I hated everything that was associated with that kind of stuff. Again, because, like, I suppose, like, again, societal norms told me that I was supposed to like these things because I was female, and female means this, and obviously not, obviously. So getting into middle school, I'm still having, like, these lingering feelings, like, I know I'm not a woman, but I don't know what that means. And I don't know, I guess I never, like, bothered to look it up because it just wasn't as prevalent in my mind until I got a bit older. So when I got to high school, around grade 10, I started realizing, okay, you know what? Like, I noticed, like, it was starting to, like, affect me more. And before that, I was just like, okay, I think something is wrong with me. So, I'm gonna try to compensate. I'm gonna hike up my femininity. I'm gonna wear skirts more often, wear dresses more often. I'm gonna try wearing makeup. I'm gonna try to, like, be this hyper feminine thing to, like, try to, like, convince myself that, I was normal, that nothing was wrong, that, like, what, I'm a woman, women do this, and this is this, and yeah, yeah. And again, I was raised in a very, very um, conservative community, conservative religion, and I was just like, people who were trans, people who were gay, bisexual, pansexual, genderqueer, non-binary, etc. They didn't exist, or if they did exist, they're an abomination. Don't talk about it. If you are, do not tell anybody. Do not bring it up to anybody. You are going to be, you're going to be, and you are the talk of, like, the community. Because the synagogue I was based in, it was a pretty tight knit community. And if something was, like, if one person from, like, a family, something was slightly considered, like, slightly abnormal, you were the talk of the community, like, intense. Like, people, like, one of the I say one of the bigger figures in the community. His son came out as gay, and holy shit, holy shit! It was like they did not come back to the synagogue for years. It was terrible. Um, lost my train of thought. So yeah, so I tried to like kind of like compensate. I tried to be more feminine. But when I got to high school, I went to for grade nine. I different story. I kind of went to grade nine. It was weird. That's a story for a different day. When I got to grade 10, I went to public school finally, and thank God I did because I got to meet so many amazing people who were obviously open and accepting of me completely, like from the get go. Like, and most people were LGBT, gender diverse, sexuality diverse, and I got to actually like learn a lot and feel comfortable with myself. Feel like like I'm able to accept myself. I'm able to explore myself. So I got the confidence to go out and to try to like understand what my gender identity was. And at this time, like, at this point, like growing up, I never told anybody I was having any difficulty whatsoever at all with anything gender related because, again, this is just not something you talked about. But when I got to public school, I started talking to people. I remember I was talking. One day, I was texting my girlfriend, and I was just like, there's this thing that's been on in my mind. It's been lingering. Like, I know I am not a woman, and she was just like, okay, that's totally fine. She's pansexual, but even so, like, she doesn't. She's an accepting kind of person, so she was just like, yeah, that's totally fine. Okay, whatever. So I was started like researching things online. I started looking at videos of what gender diversity was, and I came across a bunch of trans YouTubers. I did more research. I looked things up. So in grade, I guess the end of grade 10, I kind of I sorry, I identified as gender fluid. I That's how I identified for a while, and then I went by a different name. I went by Leighton instead of my dead name, and it went well for a while. But I'm like I was like it's doing something for me, but I'm like, you know what, this still just doesn't seem right. So I was just like, I feel more comfortable most of the time when people would use he him pronouns. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna ask if my close friends would use only he him exclusive pronouns and would use the name I was going with at the time, and they did that, which was really really awesome. And honestly, it felt so much better because um it felt right, it just felt like a click, and I was like, wow, what, I actually feel comfortable. So I started buying more like masculine clothing. I was exclusively bought from the men's section, and I started feeling confident. I started feeling comfortable with myself, and I was just like, you know what, this is great. I love this. And so I'm fast forward to, I believe, May 20. I can't remember if it was 2015 or 2016. It was 2015. It was definitely 2015. And one day I was just talking to my mom, and she was just like, you know what? I think she started like to catch on that, like that. I was presenting differently and stuff like that. And she looked at me, she was like, are you a girl? And I said, no, I'm not. And she was like, okay. And then we started talking. I started explaining to her about what transgender means and the fact that I would prefer to use he, him pronouns, and that I want to go by this name. I ended up changing the name again. I got input from my family, which was nice, and I like my name, Elliot, and George, after my grandfather who passed away. So Elliot George, I like it. So yeah, I started buying clothes exclusively for men's clothes, and I started feeling so much better. I got in touch with a gender counselor in Toronto. That's where I'm from, and I went at an appointment like once a month and then once every 3 months. I originally started with what's it called? Oh, what's it called? It was an estrogen blocker. The name escapes me right now, but I went on that for a few months, and then I went on to T, and since then I've been on T for over a year now, and I've been feeling really great. Aside from like mental health things, which is again different video. But overall, like in terms of presenting myself and how I feel and my name, my pronouns, and everything like that, I have just felt so much better, and I'm very happy that I transitioned. I am very happy that I get to live my life as my authentic self, so to speak. And yeah, so it's a long video, but it's my story. So I hope you like it. And as always, I'll see you later.